And talk us through the whole program here. Let's give her a big round of applause. Right?
Good evening and welcome to the 8th annual KV's Crew Dinner. By the way, my mom and I like to think of this as a very fun night and a party. But my dad and sister reminded us this week this is not a party. It's a fundraiser to raise awareness and money for MS. So when the band starts playing later, if you dance, you can prove them wrong. For the few of you who may not know me, I'm Nikki, Samantha's smarter and younger sister, not her twin, as many people assume. As we all know, this event would not be possible without the boss, Samantha, who spent so much time preparing and planning for it in order to make sure everything is perfect. And for the record, I only got yelled at once during setup today. I had actually already left the building when she called to yell at me. Jamie, Ann Leanne, and myself had forgotten to do something, but thanks to Anna, she was still in the building to catch our mistake. Despite Samantha doing a fabulous job for this event, it certainly would not be possible without all of you. Our first event in 2012 had 104 people. Tonight we have 240 people attending, making this our largest dinner yet. Also in 2012, my mom, KV, was the only one living with MS at our dinner that we know of. Tonight there are 16 people here that we know of living with MS. So thank you again for all of your support. As I have mentioned in the past, we know everyone here has had their own adversities they are dealing with, whether your own health issues or someone else's. Yet you're here supporting KV's crew. We lost a very dear friend, Michelle Allegretto, to cancer in May of this year. Not only was she a good family friend, but she was my mom's massage therapist. Anyone looking for a part-time job, my mom could use a good rub. Michelle was always at our events and is certainly shining down on us tonight. And her friends she attended with are here tonight. Very quick update on myself. Ryan and I celebrated 1-year anniversary July 28th. Marriage is good. So good, guess what he'll be on December 1st? Heinz Field. At a Steelers game. I'd say that makes me a pretty awesome wife to get him to a Steelers game, even if they're playing the Browns. Ryan continues to keep me balanced, and when I think a small pain is automatically the worst case scenario, he definitely reminds me of how crazy I'm being. I started on a new medication, Ocrevus, in December of 2018. Speaking of crazy, for a girl who's terrified of needles, I was not excited about the news of getting IV infusion treatments. I receive an infusion every 6 months. So although I am not a big fan of needles, it must be working well. My MRI from September was stable, showing no new or active lesions. Baby bump doo 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 doo, baby bump doo 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 doo. No, just kidding, I'm not pregnant. Just kidding. But we did get the go-ahead to start trying. I've been feeling great, and I have Laura and her amazing instructors from Mega Bar Youngstown here tonight to thank for keeping me in shape and reminding me how important physical and mental health are. So as we know, life can throw you curveballs at any time. Although I never played softball, I've learned to hit those pitches out of the park. Although if I knew John Hirschbeck was behind the plate, I might have played. Some of you, Denny Sanders, I know Dr. Davidovich, had requested to have Big Ed, my father, speak again to give the updates on my mom. However, he has retired from coaching, as he likes to compare it to. No matter how much we begged and pleaded, he wouldn't cave. My dad has set the bar pretty high over the years with his speeches. So our next speaker has some big shoes to fill. Lucky for him, he wears a size 15. He may end up being a disappointment, but we have to at least give him the opportunity to fail. Some of you know him as the proud business owner of Valhalla Custom Woodworking. He is my little yet bigger brother and the second favorite child of KB because I'm clearly the first. Will you please help me in welcoming Big Brent Bilala to the mic?
Okay. This is an ad-lib right now. These two guys right here are how desperate I was for workers. His first day on the job, he was supposed to build a tabletop, and we just ended up using him as a staircase. All right, Nikki and Ryan, to be honest, the last thing we want to hear about is you two trying to have a baby. Because to be honest, you two doing sex is just a competition of who's going to get injured first. And spoiler alert, if you don't know Ryan, he's the winner. Now, Mom, Mrs. Snyder, I know you want a grandchild badly, okay? But do we really want it to be their offspring? As a teacher, every day I get to see what the future has in store, and I don't think we should stack the deck anymore against this country. But honestly, in all seriousness, that'd be amazing. I mean, could you think of the articles the medical community would write about those two kids? Or kid? All right, now I know what you've been thinking this whole time. Ed and Kathy have a third child? And how do I get hair like that? Now, it really is great to be surrounded by friends. Until then, all of you will do. But all joking aside, it's great to see so many people in one place that Samantha wore down to get here. Now, as Nikki said, my dad did retire. And so as we got closer, he kept having words of advice. In fact, I was over there yesterday and he kept saying, Brent, people love stories. You know, Brent, people love stories. And like I told him, I said, hey, bucko, you're retired. You can't call the plays from the sidelines anymore. But I do have some stories to share, and we'll get to those. So basically, when he retired, it was down to Ryan, myself, or Nikki to give all the updates, and or excuse me, Stephanie to give the updates. And Stephanie's my wife, and Steph would have been a great option. She'd be a lot better to look at the whole time. But the problem is, you wouldn't be able to hear her, not because she's not a good speaker, but Adam and Anthony would have been catcalling and whistling the whole time. And to be honest, Ryan, he's no 10, but he's a solid 7. Personality, he's a 5, looks are a 2. Okay, that's a good joke, and some of you didn't laugh, so I can tell adding is not your strength. So then it was decided, you know, once I agreed to do it, you know, I asked my dad and Samantha, I don't even know where she is, Samantha to email me some information, and, you know, what do they want me to include and say? And so, you know, my dad's email was brief and a couple points, and then there was Samantha's email. And I just remember when I started reading that email, brushing my bangs aside. All right, I did write down some notes. Let me get these out. Don't worry, it'll still be shorter than if Samantha was giving this speech. All right. Let me get serious while we're really here. I need to see who wants to buy a river glass table. All right, if you don't know, some of the big updates for my mom this year, she started taking CBD oil and marijuana, medical marijuana. Pick, you're a little too excited about that. So the CBD oil, if you don't know, is basically found in the marijuana plant, and but it doesn't give you the sensation, that high that marijuana would, and so she said, "To hell with that, I'm not doing that anymore." So she does. You like that? So she does the medical marijuana. Now, most of you are from town, so you are familiar with the area of Warren, Ohio. Now they say this is all legal, okay? But they go to downtown Warren to get the marijuana, okay? In an unmarked building, in a back alley. Only my mom, my dad, and Samantha are allowed in. I've asked them the name of the pharmacist, and they never conveniently can tell us. And they pay with cash, so this sounds a little bit like illegal drugs to me. But they, you know, my dad also, actually, we have a little dog, he started giving her CBD oil. So the way Eduardo Escobar over here is dealing drugs, he's either part of a pyramid scheme or he's a drug lord. But it is helping. The medical marijuana is helping. It's supposed to help with the symptoms of MS. I don't know if it's helping with that, but I haven't seen them this happy since my sister moved out. So, my mom started working out at Creekside a couple days a week, and in fact, her trainer, Samantha's here. So give Samantha a round of applause. So no matter where she goes, she always has a Samantha telling her what to do. So they do the Golden Sneakers program. Once you hit a certain age, I think it's like 83, you can start working out for free. And so Creekside, they work out at Creekside. My mom works out there, and they do, you know, the membership's free, but they do pay Samantha for the training. So my mom has been doing that, and my dad also takes full advantage of the program. He doesn't do anything at Creekside, he just goes and does 12-ounce curls at the bar. But so I asked my mom one day, I said, as she started doing it, I said, well, what do you do while you're there? And she said, oh, well, Samantha has me doing PCP. And I said, she said, what? And she said, she has me doing PCP. Now she claims she meant to say PVC, which are workouts with like a lightweight pipe. But basically where she's progressed from a Catholic school teacher who I don't really recall ever drinking, to CBD oil, to marijuana, to PCP. Now anyone who was part of the DARE program growing up knows that they would tell you marijuana is a gateway drug, and I think we just found out it is. So, you know, I am concerned though, drugs are serious and expensive, and I'm really concerned they're spending my portion of the will on all this. So, this summer, for the first time in 10 years, my parents were able to go on vacation, and we all went to Ocean City, Maryland. We went with our really close family friends, the Brants, and it was a really nice time. They have a big family, so we had a group of about 15 or so of us. And like I said, that was my parents' first time in 10 years to be able to go on vacation. And you know, for us to be able to go because of you know, some of the challenges my mom faces, you know, they have to pack a lot of things. And to put it in perspective, if you're familiar with the Beverly Hillbillies, they would have looked at them and said they got a lot of stuff. So if you were on social media, you might have seen my mom cruising the beach in her automatic wheelchair, which was, you know, things like that are really blessings. And on the back of it would have been cornhole boards and a tent and my wife Stephanie. So it was a great moment though. My parents realized they could go on vacation again. When they could realize they could do it, they could support 3 families financially even on vacation. If you don't know, my dad always claims that he supports all of our families. As you know, our dad cares for our mom full time. And so leading up to vacation, all Pontius Pilate kept saying is, I wash my hands of taking care of your mother. So for a whole week he said, I'm doing nothing. And he did. He enjoyed himself and got a much needed break. And thankfully my sisters and my wife were able to help ease that burden, because God knows Ryan wasn't going to help out. But I know they had a great time, and it really meant a lot to them to be able to go, because even before the end, one day Stephanie, myself, and my dad went to a neighboring beach, and we're checking that spot out, and my dad was already talking about where he'd like to go next year, until he realized how much this trip cost. So after I talked to my dad about, he sent me the email, what he wanted me to talk about and to share. I followed the conversation just to make sure I had everything down, and if you don't know, my dad likes to repeat things sometimes. So, pick on, thanks, Vic, you got that. Close friend there. So, he kept saying, to describe my mom's situation, when she can't walk, right, the landscape changes. And he just kept saying that, the landscape changes. He literally, I think, said it to me 20 times in a 30-second conversation. So if you want to know, the landscape changes, because, obviously she faced her challenges of not being able to walk or stand up independently. So it has its limitations. And so this year, for the first time, they are hiring a cleaning service that comes in once a month to help out. And so they're starting to do things to help ease their burdens around the house. Next year, they're talking about getting a landscape service. And the year after that, we're taking their access to their funds away. All right, couple more updates. So this August, we went to the Cleveland Clinic. Myself, my mom, my dad, Nikki, we went to the Cleveland Clinic. My mom goes twice a year, so one of the big updates for her that she was thrilled about is when we talked with her doctor, Shauna, she doesn't have to go there twice a year now in person. So she only has to go once a year now, and then the other time, because of the advancements with technology, they can do a meeting next year through, I guess, their iPad. They're going to do something through their devices where she can meet. So she was really excited about that. As Nikki mentioned, Nikki's on Ocrevus, and so we talked about Ocrevus there, and my mom could do that. But unfortunately they haven't, and that's the only medicine available for what our mom has, the primary progressive. But, if she wanted to do it, she really have to insist on it, and she'd have to get an MRI. When Shauna brought up getting an MRI, my mom was like a broken record of no. So she wasn't having the MRI done to get it. But there is a medicine available. Like I said, it's the one Nikki takes, and but really that's the only option right now. And they unfortunately don't know how she would handle it, because her age group, they haven't done any testing on yet. So, the other thing too is, when we go to Cleveland Clinic, on the way home, it's near Whole Foods, which we don't have around here. And so on the way home, we get to stop at, this thing's going overtime. I'm almost there, relax. So we get to stop at Whole Foods, and my dad swears, because we get groceries and he pays for them, that's the only reason I go. And that's kind of assaulting. That's not the only reason I go. We also get dinner that night. All right, let me get to our event sponsors here. So the event sponsors, healthcare providers, Dr. Dimitovich, who's sitting right here, and Dr. McNally, Dr. McNally. All of our guests that have MS, and Nikki mentioned 16 of them, the Galaxy Industrial Services and the Pecchia family, they pay for all of those guests. And like Nikki said, we had 16 people with MS, and Helen and Barry, where are they sitting? Helen and Barry. Okay. Helen and Barry live with MS here. Let me put this, they're from Cincinnati, okay? So think about that. Cincinnati's so bad, they drove 5 hours to come to Youngstown. So they're here with us tonight, and it's so bad in Cincinnati, the Bengals are doing their best impression of the Browns to get moved out of town. I hope you can handle it. I got one more Cincinnati joke. When we were growing up, my sisters would whine a lot. My parents would always say, it could always be worse. It could always be worse. And they were talking about people from Cincinnati. So when I asked my sister what Helen and Barry do in the MS community, she said they do the same thing as me, which I just assumed was drive people crazy while asking them for money. But they are both fellow district activist leaders and members of the Ohio Government Relations Advisory Committee, and we thank them honestly for making this drive here to be with us tonight. Dessert sponsors, VCW, despite my co-worker's best attempt to bankrupt me this summer, and Dutch House Restaurant, Anthony and Kara, I don't know if they're out here right now, and the Mr. Anthony staff, Sandy Photography, in the back there, thanks Sandy, Jolie and Monica, who did all the centerpieces, they did a really nice job, Monica and Joe, our Vegas band back there, and we'll see them on stage here again, and everyone helped me set up, and help contribute tonight. So the last thing to close with here, today we've raised $90,000. And like Nikki said, we know a lot of people have charities they can donate to, and so we're really appreciative if you donate to ours, because it's helping me make major upgrades to my workshop. And with your help, I can build my dream shop here soon. So each year we donate to the Cleveland Clinic Mellon Center. Sorry, I gotta read this because if I don't get it right, Samantha's already threatened to come up here and talk some more. The National MS Society Ohio Buckeye Chapter, earmarked for research, and the Oak Clinic. And those who've been here before, the Oak Clinic is helps people regardless of their ability to pay. So, for example, like Nikki and Ryan. So last year, we contributed to a research study with both our mom and Nikki's doctors that were leading at the Cleveland Clinic. And in the words of Samantha, our hope is that the more we educate, the more people understand about MS, there will bring greater awareness in financial giving. And that is why we are here tonight. And this is it, I promise you. All right, I want to finish up by letting you know Samantha and John have a podcast, Need to Know. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Stitchers. It's really beneficial. If you have a hard time falling asleep at night, just tune in. You can find it under the NyQuil podcast. Our family was on episode 19, and thanks to yours truly, it was not a snoozer. Their goal is to educate and encourage not only listeners battling MS, but everyone facing adversity. They have interviews with people living with MS. Like I said, our mom was on there as well as others. And where is John Hirschbeck? John Hirschbeck, a former MLB umpire. He was on there. We've had local authors. They've had a local brewery. And our dad's going to be on an upcoming episode for National Caregivers Month this November. And that's a wrap. But I'm not quite done with Ryan yet. And now I'm coming to the mic, one twitch at a time. My biggest regret, my brother-in-law, Ryan Snyder. How do you lower this?
Obviously, that's not made by Valhalla Custom Woodworking, it's still standing. So I worked with Brent all summer, and so did Dylan, the ugly guy sitting beside him. That's the longest I've seen Brent on his feet all summer. You can ask the Rigneys, they came in while we were working. This is Brent's normal position while he's Valhalla Custom Woodworking. So I am here to introduce our first speaker. Our first speaker, my parents told me I've known all my life, but I think they put a little too much alcohol in my bottle to help me sleep, because that first 6, 7 years of my life, I don't really remember, but they say that he was around the whole time. He was a Vietnam veteran. He attended the University of San Francisco, graduated from Gannon University. He's a CPA in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York. He worked throughout the eastern U.S. and for Arthur and Anderson Company, an international CPA firm, for 36 years, and he was partnered with a regional CPA firm for 35 years. He retired in 2010, and throughout his working and retired life, he's created many profit and nonprofit economic development organizations to assist Pennsylvania and Ohio. He is the Shenango Valley Chamber of Commerce Person of the Year. He is the Italian Home Person of the Year. He's the Penn Northwest Development Person of the Year. And he's the Boy Scouts of America Person of the Year. He's been married to my aunt for 43 years, and they are blessed with my grandma's second and third favorite grandchild. Her grandchildren, obviously, favorite. Our first speaker is my Uncle Chip Mastrian.
Kind of tough to follow Brent as well as Ryan. Initially, a lot of talks are deal with levity or a joke early on, but with the comedian coming on, I didn't want to upstage him. Anyhow, he's going to have a hard time upstaging Brent. He did a fabulous job. Nikki and Samantha asked that I share my journey with MS. I relate journey to travel, and so I'll talk about that a little later, travel, but right now I'm going to talk about my experience with MS. In my late 20s, at times, I felt like I was walking on a pillow. Periodically, I would get waistband tingling sensations and right leg weakness. After discussing these issues with a family doctor, I met with a doctor at St. E's, Dr. Gilliland, who said that these symptoms could be MS related. At that time, there was no real definitive tests of MS. It was diagnosed by a process of elimination. When I was 30, my hat blew off during a winter storm, and I ran across the yard to get it. And I realized my right leg would not move. I went to the ER, and Dr. Gilliland gave me an injection of what was called ACTH, a drug that stimulates the body to release its own cortisone. A steroid, essentially. Thus, my life with MS diagnosis began. I was on ACTH periodically for right leg weakness and blurred vision. Happily, I responded very well to these injections. Unfortunately, the use of ACTH for a long period of time caused early cataracts, for which I had surgery. I continue with leg issues, double vision, spasticity, limited feeling in my hands and feet. As I have aged, I am in my 74th year, essentially living with MS for over 40 years. I have experienced an increasing weakness in my legs and arms. Early on, I felt hopeless. Dr. Gilliland told me, go out and live your life. You can get hit by a motorcycle tomorrow. Early on, but I am a lucky guy. After an initial spell of feeling sorry for myself, I've developed a mental fortitude. This inner strength helps me when I lose control, Maybe the area I lose control is physical, but maybe these areas sometimes seem overwhelming, and you just can't seem to shake it. I believe a healthy attitude is important, as well as support group and physical exercise. Initially, I told very few people about my illness. I passed off my limp as a military-related injury. My wife and a couple of friends knew. And my wife experienced my daily frustrations. She remains my lover, my best friend, and my cheerleader. I'm a lucky guy, as I've had numerous remissions and was able to have a successful business, a great family, many, many close friends, and the ability to help others through community service. My children also put a smile on my face. As I have aged, my weakness has exacerbated, and I now freely disclose my MS. Initially, I resisted using canes and wheelchairs at airports, but I have learned to conserve my energy to avoid falls. Despite my increasing weakness and muscle atrophy, I work hard to maintain a healthy mental attitude. I am very disciplined with my exercise regime every morning. I perform a series of hand exercises, neck exercises, then a series of flexing and strengthening exercises for about a half hour. I work out with an exercise physiologist 2 to 3 times a week with a focus on balance and strength. His philosophy is to find different nerve pathways to strengthen, to offset those that are damaged. I also swim twice a week and do various strokes I'm still capable of. I go to a neurologically based chiropractor who attempts to correct the cause of the issues instead of treating the effect. In addition to MS creating muscle weakness, I also have spinal stenosis in my neck and lumbar region. There is no twisting, cracking, or pulling. In this method, instead, the chiropractor uses a tool called integrator to tap and subtly adjust sublugations of the spine. The point is a non-invasive but specific adjustment to release pressure on the nervous system to restore function. I try to eat healthy, but I enjoy wine immensely. I also enjoy vodka and scotch on the rocks. And then I'll have a beer now and then. I am on a journey often. I travel all over the world with my wife, family, and friends. If there's a will, there's a way, with a little help from your friends. Mental fortitude, a healthy attitude, with a generous dose of motion is lotion, helps me through life. Remember that the first principle of life is to enjoy it.
It's normal, Brent sitting down, me doing the work.
All right, not as good as my brother. I still have to read off a paper. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to introduce our entertainer for this evening. I saw this gentleman perform several months ago, and I can't remember laughing as hard as I did, except for my brother's speech. That was pretty awesome. He's originally from Chicago, but has spent 9 years living in Boardman, which I'm sure he'll tell you about. He has a wonderful mixture of comedy, magic, and mentalism. He has performed on every cruise ship imaginable over 40 years. You may have seen him in the past on Star Search, HBO, or even enjoying a slice of pizza at Bellerie and Struthers. But he is here tonight just for us. On behalf of the Villela family and the KB's crew, please help me in welcoming Rich Purpura.